Hello
Hello.
there to you all. Bonjour. Como está? Ciao. Aloha. Yes. Well,
Bonagani is what
Monica,
we forgot the
that's the way.
Bonagani. That's
Oh,
wrong. Like,
yes. And peace be with you all. And thank you for joining us. What's up to my people in people
yes.
land? Good to see you all.
Yes.
And of course, as always, it's good to be seen by anybody that's seeing us. So we
It is
thank you.
good to be seen. Yeah, I like that you said that. It's something that I do pretty much weekly is
Hmm.
go back and look at the analytics, for our live streams. And it's always interesting to me when I see numbers that are sometimes 2 and 3 times what we have during our live streams.
Okay.
And I go back and I'm like, oh, okay, so people really are watching this because I saw a live stream. One of them had like, over 70 views
Okay.
in
Right.
contrast to us having maybe like 6 people live streaming. And then I said, Keyshawn, people don't necessarily all get up at 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays, so it's okay. And also let me know that it's circulating, that people are finding it is the word I was looking for.
Okay.
People are able to find it because that means that people are able to view it
Mhm.
outside of people that we know personally, outside of people that are connected with us on social. That I started to put in some different what they call SEO, like search engine optimization language, into the description of each episode is something I was working on this month. And that ish really works. Keywords really work because I saw a pretty substantial increase in views from before I was doing that to after. So I say all that to say thank you for people who are
Yes,
watching, and it
for
is
sure,
nice to be seen.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, and it is the goal, I believe. I mean, obviously, we have a personal goal of just growing our relationship, having these conversations. But
Yeah.
the call that we both believe is on our lives is to just
Hmm.
share information,
Right.
about our relationship with Creator, you know,
Right.
uh, and so whoever views or participates, watches, listens, whatnot. It's our prayer, at least our belief, our heartfelt belief that they'll get something out of it. And
Hmm.
and if they don't, they'll share it with somebody else and say, "Man, these folks are stupid. They're crazy." And maybe that person will get something out of it when they
Maybe
view
they will be like, well, I actually rather enjoyed the conversation.
it.
So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's how was your
Thanks.
week this week?
It was it
Busy?
was it was good. It was I was working on the waterfall. I did a waterfall in the front yard. That was my pandemic activity. It's one of those. Okay, you got to do something. You can't just sit in the house. So
Yeah.
built a waterfall in the front yard, and so it's that time. The weather's finally changed a little bit. Looks like it's gonna be warm now from now on. So
Okay.
it was a few times in the last month. Okay, let me go out and start getting this thing together.
Yeah.
But well, no, it's too cold. I'm not even gonna turn it on. It's cold.
Right. If not, right. Exactly.
But so I did that, and we had Ziggy was up with us for a few days, so that's
Hmm.
always exciting, interesting, and it's a blessing to see his progress, because we
Yeah.
had concerns about him talking, and
Hmm.
I was like, okay, this brother just has like full on conversations, and
He's like,
he's
I was actually just
forcing
waiting
over words.
until, yeah, he was like, I was just waiting until y'all were ready to hear what I have to say. And
Exactly.
now I will continue to orate my thoughts
Right.
forever. So yeah.
That was pretty cool. So yeah, so we're
Yeah.
still we're still in prayer with mommy's vehicle. So hopefully
Yeah, she mentioned that you're getting closer to a decision about how to move forward with that. I left her a message yesterday because
mm,
I'd seen a video this week, and it's there's this person that I follow on social media. He's this black guy who does car reviews, and
okay.
mostly on like brand new cars and future cars
Mm,
and all this kind of stuff. And he said this is the least expensive car in America on the market right now. So I had to stop and watch it,
mhm.
and it's a 2023 Nissan something. I don't remember the name of it, but it was like it'd be the equivalent of the Sentra, about that size.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And he said the MSRP fully loaded is like 19,000.
Okay.
And he did the review of it, and I was like, that ain't too bad for 19,000. It's has all the bells and whistles, all the GPS, all the heated seats, all the this and that, but it's definitely not an SUV. It's definitely not a crossover. It's more so like a four passenger at
Okay.
most, I would say. But it's cute. It was cute.
And right, and your mother, which and I am in total agreement with. We're, she wants a crossover SUV ish vehicle.
Mhm.
I know partly just because it's easier to get car seats in
In
and
and
out
out
of
of.
a vehicle that's up a little higher, which
Right.
I get. So, always considering the fact that she is a at on call at will babysitter.
She is on call.
So
She is a full-time grandparent. I will say that.
yes,
She's a full-time grandparent. She's like, that
I
is
got.
my calling. So yeah.
And when the car went down, and we're like, okay, so what are we gonna do?
Hmm.
Okay, which direction we gonna go in? The first vehicles that she started telling me, "Ooh, I found a car." And she sent it to me online and whatnot, and it's a Lexus. I'm like, okay, so that's where we're
She
going.
wants an
Okay, all right.
upgrade. She's like, yes, a crossover and
So,
an upgrade is what I would
which
like.
you it's not a it's kind of a YOLO, but it's not a YOLO because it is what it is.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, everybody knows except people that are my age. That's you only live
Only
once.
once, yeah.
So why not? If we could find one that
Yeah.
could
I saw some on
but
CarMax that were pretty nice. They were yeah, I saw actually when you mentioned Lexus, because Colin is kind of in the market. She's up at
mhm,
that point where, for those who don't know, here's your financial tip for the day. If you are financing a car and you financed a brand new car, chances are when
right,
you get to the 3-year mark in your loan, if you haven't already paid it off, that's the
mhm,
sweet spot where your car will not be upside down, meaning you won't
right,
owe
right,
more than it's worth. And because of the pandemic, a lot of people delayed their car notes, for sometimes up to a year. So that
mhm,
window got smaller. So it's kind of like
right,
instead of a 3-year mark, it was kind of like 2.5 years. So depending on when you buy your car, if you're financing a car, if you don't plan on paying it off and making it your forever vehicle, it's probably a good time to trade in and trade up. So financial tip
right,
for the day. Yeah.
right. No, that's very true. So we'll see. Whatever direction the Lord sends us in.
Yeah.
Me, I would love to be able to do that. For mommy
Yeah.
again. You tease about it, but then again, we are 65 years old. For those of you, I know I don't look it, but
No,
we're
it's great.
we're
Good genes.
65 years old. And we've had a lot of things that we dreamed of having or wanted to have or say we'd
Hmm.
like to have at some point. So why not? So if that's in God's will, then we'll go that direction. Otherwise, we're trusting that Hyundai will um, allow us, or that they'll step in and cover the engine
Oh,
on
like
the
under a
vehicle.
warranty kind of good. Okay. Yeah.
That's a possibility. So if
Okay.
that doesn't happen, we're looking at doing something different. So
Yeah.
uh, yes, Gigi, with good genes for sure. We were blessed. And I tease about it. And the other day, I thought, I need to just make this more serious about getting 100 years out of this body, because I've teased about I'm trying to get 100 years out of this body,
Okay.
but I realized I need to speak life into the reality of what I want.
Hmm.
I'm gonna get 100 years out of this
There you
body. I'm
go.
not gonna try
Great.
to get 100
Only,
years out.
only in optimal health. 100 years in
Yeah, for sure.
optimal health. Yes.
Oh,
Please
wait, wait,
don't
wait,
have
wait.
this man sticking around. He can't see and walk, y'all. Okay.
Now, see, now, hey, let me say that. So I have to say this. See, praise the Lord. Now, I agree totally. But you see, that's a selfish statement. You see, like,
That,
I'm the
yeah,
oldest.
correct.
I'm
Yes,
gonna have to take care
absolutely.
of this nigga if he
I'm the
can't move
oldest,
around.
okay? I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest. I'm the eldest boy. I'm the oldest. So I'm like, yes, 100
Man, she
years
like,
in
he is not moving
optimal
in with me.
health. Yes, you can stick around as long as you want in optimal
Yeah, as long
health.
as you can take care of yourself. I ain't wiping no booties and none of that.
Yes, let it be said and let it be known.
Oh man, but yeah, but praise the Lord. Obviously, that's always
Yes.
the underlying part. Yeah, Lord, I want to be being what do they say, a modicum of good health. Be
Yeah.
able to walk around
I love that.
and bust out some push-ups and
Yes.
eat and see and hear. Even if I need assistance on some of those
Of
things, but
course.
just to be
Yeah.
kind of like my mother, my own mother,
Hmm.
96 years old, still living by herself.
Yeah.
You know, unless some crazy circumstance happens, I'm pretty sure I'll be in better physical health,
Yeah.
just because of what I choose to do. So,
Right.
but yeah, but yes, it's a blessing to be here at this point,
Excellent.
and we have uh, we have great things ahead of
We
us as
do.
long as we're
We really do.
operating in righteousness.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Awesome. Well, welcome to everyone. I see y'all in the chat. I see Damio, Mom, Gigi. Thank you all for being here. We do appreciate the support. This is Meditate on the Word for those who don't know. We come here every Saturday morning live on YouTube to have conversations very much like the one we've already been having. This is my dad, for those who don't know. That's why our last name is the same. And people tell me that we're twins. So there's that. So I feel like we started this 3 years ago, roughly, and it's just progressed, evolved. It continues to evolve. And I like about joy about these conversations is that there's no two that are alike. So if
Right.
you're watching this for the very first time, I encourage you go back, just pick an episode. There's over 70 of them at this point. Pick an episode and see which one stands out to you and let us know what you think of it, whether you're watching it live or watching it later. So if you are watching live, of course, I feel like y'all already know the routine. You're welcome to be active in the chat. You can ask us questions. We'll do our best to address them. We will not keep you for more than an hour and 9 minutes at the most. That 9 minutes is the parking lot conversation that you have when you let out. We already know it's gonna happen. There ain't no way around it, right? So we appreciate you for sticking
We
around.
try,
We
we
try. We
try, we
really
try.
try. It's the parking lot conversation. It's the
Yeah.
long goodbye. That's what Black folks do. So we do start off with a meditation. So we're going to get into that now. I want to just invite you to find a comfortable position for your body, whatever that is, only you will know. I am seated in a chair, my legs are crossed. If that works for you, that's fine. If you are seated in a chair and your feet are able to touch the floor, you would like both of your feet to be touching the ground. You can roll your neck a couple of times if you'd like, bring your chin down towards your chest. Just let your body start to settle into a position of stillness. When we think about meditation, there's essentially three parts of it. There's the stillness, there's the silence, and then there's the connection. And we want you to take your time to go through those and know that there's no wrong way. You'll know exactly when you reach that moment of connection. So if you'd like, just start to take a look around the space that you're in. If you'd like to keep your eyes open, if there's something you'd like to gaze on, if you have a beautiful waterfall or some wonderful scenery outside of your window, by all means, take a look at that. Otherwise, you're welcome to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, starting to draw your attention to your breathing, just taking notice as your breath moves in and out of your body and the subtle sensations that come with that experience. Just noticing each inhale and exhale. Taking a moment to recognize your unique rhythm and flow of breath. And then when you're ready, taking 3 deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in and out. And after that third long exhale, returning to your natural rhythm and flow just through the nose, breathing in and out. Taking a moment here to find a place within you where gratitude resides. Maybe it's in the chest, around the heart. Maybe it's in the head, around the crown. Maybe it's in that space right between the eyebrows. And as you draw your attention to that space within you where gratitude resides, take a moment to breathe into that space, allowing that feeling, that sensation of gratitude to permeate all around your body, expanding with each breath. And on your next big inhale, starting to create a space within you, a sacred place where you can arrive ready and willing to receive today's message, today's wisdom, today's inspiration or direction. And taking another big inhale here, followed by a long and steady exhale as you prepare a space within you to receive today's prayer.
Most High God, creator of all things seen and unseen. You're everywhere at once, with all knowledge and all power. And today we just thank you for a new day. Father, we thank you for gratefulness. Hallelujah. Not to be confused with thankfulness or thanks. Understanding that thanks, we give thanks for things that we kind of expect or knew they were coming. But to be grateful is the mindset of knowing that we got something we didn't deserve, knowing that we can't even really understand why we got it. And we're just all so grateful for shining your light on us and providing for all of our needs and giving us the encouragement that we need in times of need, times of sorrow, times of misunderstanding, times of confusion. You've allowed us to see our way through so many different situations and circumstances and trials and tribulations. So we're grateful today to be in your presence once again. Just ask that you would continue to use us for your purpose and encourage us and guide us and empower us and ignite us and inspire us. So we ask that you till the soul of our hearts today so the seeds that are planted in this conversation will take root and take hold and they'll grow and they will be able to know and ultimately we'll be able to show who we are and why we are and where we're going and how we're going to get there because of the way that you inspire us. So we're just grateful today to be in your presence once again. We give you honor and glory. And it's in the name of Yeshua that I pray these things. Hallelujah.
Ashe.
Hallelujah.
That's good. I like that. Recognizing the variance between gratitude, gratefulness and gratitude and giving thanks. We appreciate the thanksgiving and the gratitude, like you said, it's coming from that. It's almost like me? I get to have this? Okay, well, thank you.
Right.
Well, I'm grateful. Like that's yeah, I'm full of full of grace, full of gratitude. I love that. Awesome.
And just real quick
Yeah,
for
good.
those that are watching or listening or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I've heard through the years, people might say, well, I don't know how to pray or how do you talk to the creator? And it's just like that because again, that me acknowledging that difference is just something that I felt,
Mm-hmm.
even as you were leading us in the meditation, because there's a difference. So I just want to let you know that I recognize that, Lord. So a lot of times it's just
Yeah.
talking to God, just like talking to a best friend. I mean, come on now, who doesn't want the creator to be their best friend? So
I mean,
talk to
yeah.
talk to your best friend.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think that's a good point. It's interesting that you say that because as I was prepping for today, I've been revisiting, and I think I might have shared this on social media or something, but I've been revisiting this book and revisiting a couple of textbooks that I've acquired over the years, whether it's, of course, like looking at the Bible, looking at the Bhagavad Gita, looking at a book called A Course in Miracles. And then one that stands out and kept coming back to me is this book called Conversations with God. And Conversations with God is actually, it's a collection or collective of three separate books that were kind of
Mhm.
emerged into one. And I've had a copy of it sitting on my bookshelf, and it, you know, how sometimes you just kind of feel led to just, let me just pick this up and just read it, or let me just see
Right.
what page I go to. And so
Right.
I started looking at it. You know, I've been listening to it on Audible and everything. So it's what I consider to be a book worth reading, and
Mhm.
it's something that I thought would be nice to share a little bit about with our audience here. It's one of
Okay.
those. Last week we talked a little bit, or not, maybe not last week, but in the last couple of weeks, I know that
Mhm.
you often mention the acronym of the Bible being basic instructions before leaving Earth, and it might have been last week where I said, well, once we get instructions, like what's the intermediate level of instructions? What's the
Yeah.
advanced instructions? What does that look like? And
Yeah,
kind of to
gotcha.
your point, when we think about how we pray or what our conversations with God look like, I think that arriving at a place where you can have conversations with God does
Mhm.
require you to at least have a basic level of understanding. So, Conversations with
Right.
God as a book, I would say, is maybe intermediate level of study, because a lot of what is referenced, it does require some level of biblical knowledge or like biblical familiarity. So anybody can read whatever they want. I will just say, if you do decide to pick up the book for the first time, know that you're gonna need to have your Bible close by. So
Mhm.
it's a good one. So I wanted to talk a little bit about conversations with God today, because there were a couple of things that came out this week when I was kind of listening to it and also flipping through the physical, because I have both the physical book and I listen to it on Audible. And so
Oh,
it's like I said, it's a captivating collection of books. The author's name is Neil Donald Walsh. And what it is, it's a series of intimate dialogue between the
mhm.
author and the divine. And the way the author
Mhm.
describes how he developed the book was after spending years of study
Okay.
in biblical study and studying other, you know, world religions and things like that as well, that he just started writing down questions on like a notebook paper and going into meditation or into like a meditative state where he was open to hearing the responses. And so a lot of times
Mhm.
when we're in prayer, we're like throwing out requests. I need, make this stop, make that happen, bring me this, get rid of that, da 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 da. And that feels more like commands versus conversations. Whereas a conversation, you typically like share a little something, maybe you ask a question, then you wait for a response and see
Mhm.
what comes. So that's the pace, I would say, of the book. What I also like is that it provides some pretty thought provoking insight on humanity's, or humans' often misguided understanding of God and the misconceptions
Mhm.
that surround our human perception of the divine. And so I wanted to share just like some of the quotes that stood out that I thought would be kind of interesting to bring into the conversation today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a little bit of the quote, and then I'm
Mhm.
also going to share bold text that addresses that particular quote. So the first one is, you do not understand God because you do not understand yourself. So for context, the author is again asking God, you know, why don't we understand you, and why do you do this and why do you do that? And then these quotes are meant to be understood by the reader as the divine responding to the
Okay.
author's questions.
Okay.
So this is God saying, you do not understand God, human, because you do not understand yourself. And this
Right.
quote reminds us that our understanding of God is intrinsically linked to our self awareness and our perception
Right.
of who we are. And to
Right.
truly grasp the nature of the divine, we actually have to go on our own journey of self discovery, self
Right.
realization. Like, who are we first? We got to, because the two are not separate in essence. And so that brought me to Matthew 7:3 through 5, where it says, this is in Matthew Gospels, New Testament, for reference, for those who don't know. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's
Mhm.
eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite. First, take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. And what this passage is reminding us of is that self reflection and self awareness is essential to understand
Mm-hmm.
ourselves and our relationship to God. And what often happens is we look at other people, look at them, look at them. Let me, oh, they should fix their life. They need to get right with God. And it's like, well, so, hello, hold on now. You might have you looking at a speck in someone else's eye, and you have a whole plank. So you imagine a plank of wood potentially
Right.
poking out of your eyeball, and you're like, but look at them over there, they got a little speck.
Yeah.
They don't know, they don't
Yeah.
have it all figured out yet.
And that little speck is probably a splinter that came off the thing that's
That
in
came
your
off the
head.
plinter. Yeah, it came off the plank that's in your eyeball, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
another
Exactly.
quote that stood out to me in the book is it says, God does not desire adoration, but rather joyful co-creation with human beings. And this quote, it challenges the idea that God seeks unwavering worship and just constantly, oh God, you're God wonderful, you're fabulous, you're fantastic, da 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 da. And it's like, okay, but I feel like God more so is inviting us to actively participate in co-creating our
Mhm.
lives. So this kind of speaks to the person who's like, I've been praying. I know God is going to, deliver me financially. All my needs are going to be met, and I'm going
Right.
to just watch Netflix movies all day, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna just like eat some
Yeah.
popcorn, and
It's gonna
I'm not gonna look for a job. I'm not gonna even think
happen.
about starting a business. I'm not gonna like go out and volunteer places and see if that can parlay into a job. I'm just gonna sit back and just wait for everything to come together for me. And it does genuinely emphasize the importance of a collaborative relationship with the divine,
Right.
and it's understanding that being a collaborator or a co-creator with the creator of the universe feels
Hmm.
like a pretty joyful opportunity. It feels like an opportunity
Yeah.
we should be grateful for. And so
Yeah.
in
Hold-
Genesis, oh yeah,
hold-
go ahead, Dad. Yeah,
hold-
yeah, go ahead.
So what was the quote
Oh,
again?
the quote is,
God.
God does not
Right.
desire adoration, but rather joyful co-creation.
Okay. Okay.
So, and so in Genesis 1:26, God said, let us make mankind in our image and in our
Hmm.
likeness. And this verse highlights the idea that we are created in the image of God, suggesting
Right.
that our understanding of the divine, of God, is intertwined again with our understanding of ourselves. So if
Hmm.
we're understanding that we're created in the image of God, and instead of me just sitting back and saying, thank you for creating me, thank you for creating me, that's really good, you did a great job, like cheerleading versus getting in the game, coaching
Right.
versus being on the field. So understanding that it's one thing to adore God and love God, that's fantastic. When it comes to your life, your lifestyle, things you experience, you do have to play an active role in that.
Right.
There is a
Right.
requirement from you
There
to
is, there is yeah, and because you've heard me say it, a million times.
Mhm.
I'm a firm believer that the Creator's given every individual on the planet a specific gift, talent, or ability
Right,
that they're supposed to use to take care of themselves.
right.
So why would that be given to you, like you said, just to sit on the couch and watch Netflix movies?
Yeah.
Unless that's your gift.
Unless
Now
that
I don't know,
I don't know. Are
but
you writing reviews on the movie? Are they
that's
writing-
what I was gonna say. You're not getting paid if watching those films or those movies all day and eating popcorn is not providing the sustenance that you need to take care of yourself.
Right.
Then that's probably not your gift,
Probably
talent,
not
or
your
ability.
gift, talent, or ability.
But
Yeah.
that's where that co-creation comes in. It's like, okay, I gave you this.
Yeah.
Now let's see. Ooh, this is gonna be good. Now, now the Creator, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, because it said that us, they're sitting back saying, okay, this is gonna be good. Oh, wait, okay, wait, what is she doing?
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Exactly.
Hey, he ain't even using this stuff. Okay, well,
Well,
let's watch somebody else.
yeah,
Okay, because
maybe
they're
we'll
getting.
come back to them. We'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Maybe something will connect. And again, I think if it's like you said, it's we are all, I agree. We're all, and I heard somebody else say, it's so funny. I heard somebody say a quote similar to your quote on a podcast this
Mm-hmm.
week. And the guy
Mm-hmm.
said, the speaker said, every human being has a unique set of gifts, talents, and
Mm-hmm.
capabilities. And I
Okay.
literally had to
Mm-hmm.
rewind the podcast like, Okay, I guess that's technically not trademarked, I guess, but you might have heard it here first, depending on. And I was like, oh, I guess we really are getting
There,
our word out there because we're this is a pretty
there you
notable
go.
person who was. But he said
There you go.
capabilities. I was
Cool.
like, okay, okay, I see you put a little spin on it. But anyway, you heard it here first. Gifts, talents, and
Okay.
abilities, co-trains. um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
another quote that stood out from the book is your, and again, this is God saying to us humans, your concept of God is not big
Mm-hmm.
enough. And the
Mm-hmm.
quote highlights the limitations of our human understanding when it comes to comprehending the vastness and
Right.
infinite nature of God.
Right.
And
Right.
what it does is it calls us to really expand our perception, open our minds, and embrace the notion that the divine is beyond our limited comprehension. Even those of us who have studied all the texts, who have gone
Mm-hmm.
through seminary, who have spent ages and eons deciphering, breaking down the etymology, all the it still is like it's like a speck. To be honest, it might even be smaller than a speck of our,
Right.
of our ability, I would say, maybe to really understand. And even if we just accept, like, okay, God's bigger than I can even imagine, so I'm going to imagine God being like this big, and it's like,
Right.
okay.
Right.
And then maybe as your spiritual relationship matures, you're like, okay, maybe God is this big, and God
Right.
is like, it's really bigger than you even have the capacity to describe. So
Exactly.
just know
Exactly.
that. And so
Even if you
when
have a Hubble telescope in your backyard, that's how big it
still even bigger
is.
than that. And I think that stood out because back to what you were saying earlier about prayer, sometimes when we are praying or when we are manifesting or when we are calling things in, whatever language works best for you, we're
Yeah.
doing so from this limited scope of what we think God is, how
Right.
we are connected to God as co-creators, and what is actually possible. And so sometimes when we have those moments of gratitude where we're like, oh
Mhm.
man, that came out of nowhere. I didn't even know that was gonna happen. And God is like, girl, you
Right.
asked for that 3 years ago. You don't remember? You don't you don't remember asking for it? Well, I didn't really write it down. I didn't pray about it. I just thought about it. And here it is. It's like you're a co-creator with the creator of the whole universe. So mhm, bigger than we think. And so what stood out to me, sorry, scripture for that
Hmm.
connected with this is in Isaiah 55, 8 through 9. And this says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways, declares the Lord.
Right.
As the heavens are
Right.
higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. And so I was like, okay, heaven's higher than earth, ways higher. Okay, so higher. How much higher? How much bigger? Bigger than our ways, meaning our ways of thinking, our ways of understanding, our ways of perceiving. Like it emphasizes the vastness and incomprehensibility, so to speak, of God, like just so far outside the scope of what we can even understand. And it also invites us to recognize that our understanding of the divine is limited in comparison to God's wisdom and perspective. God's perspective is not limited. Our perspective of God is limited because of the
Yeah.
humanness, because of the human
Right.
experience that we're
Yeah.
having right now.
Yeah. We're incapable of even grasping it, completely. It takes it takes faith.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really, there's no other way in I guess English language or any language, on the planet to express what it takes
Hmm.
to believe that concept of there being a creator that's bigger than we could ever imagine or think. All we can really do is imagine it. But if you just look at the vastness of this one universe that we exist in right
Hmm.
now, and then if you let your brain go to understand or consider
Hmm.
that this is only one of millions or billions of universes,
Right.
then that's when you start to get a little bit of a headache and you just got to let it go. It's just
That's what,
faith. You
yeah,
just have,
it's like,
yeah.
For those who've seen the movie Men in Black, it came out 20 years ago, so I don't think it's a spoiler at this point. But the movie Men in Black, at the very, very end of the movie, kind of like end credit scene, it, you see like the city of New
Right,
York, and then the camera zooms out and you see the island, and you see the whole planet Earth, then you see the Milky Way, then it expands
right,
more, and then it actually reduces, and all that goes inside of a little tiny marble that's on a
right,
keychain of an alien in a whole nother reality. Meaning, like, in the the message there is like, we think we're a big deal, so to speak,
exactly,
and
exactly.
we're kind of just like a small blue dot on a a very large tapestry of existence. So again, like,
And
go ahead, Dad.
think about again, and to think about to even take that picture, that example, and then again, this is headache stuff. Then to think about the creator of all of this stuff is aware of you, is aware of me individually,
Right,
personally,
right,
individually,
right,
personally.
right.
That's yeah, that's what. Okay, 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 okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. And that's where like that's where the Genesis piece comes in for me, which is, if the creator was like,
Mm,
let's make mankind in our image and our likeness, and then we develop this collaborative, co-creative relationship with God, it brought me to my next quote that stood out, which is, God is not a being, it
mhm,
but the very essence of being itself.
mhm.
And
Right.
so that particular one, it challenges the anthropomorphic, or
Mhm,
like, I guess, humanization, or forming,
mhm.
like, our human
Right,
minds with
right,
limited capacity, is like, okay, but what? So, okay, so God.
right.
Okay, so wait, the essence of being itself. Okay, so God is everything, everywhere, all at once. But then where is God? Where do I go to find God?
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Where
God,
is that
where is that place? Well, it's everything. It's everywhere. It's all at once.
place?
It's all the things, all the places that you can even imagine. It's also
Right,
that. It's there too. And so
right.
it invites us to, in our best human efforts, to
Mhm,
perceive the divine as a universal essence
mhm, mhm,
that permeates all of creation,
mhm.
everywhere, all the time.
Yeah.
And it also,
Oh,
it asks us
yeah.
to really recognize the divinity within every
Mhm.
aspect of life, to recognize the divine presence within every aspect of life, and to really embrace a holistic understanding of God, which again is a big ask for humans,
Yeah, yeah.
because our minds like to compartmentalize, we like to categorize. We I don't know if it's all of us, but I feel like most humans are like, we make it make sense. I need to put it into a box so I can
Yeah,
look at it.
for sure.
And
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, maybe the reason why we want to compartmentalize
Mhm.
is because in our likeness to God,
Mhm.
we want to sit back and observe, and say, yeah, look, and now I get it. I get all the things. We want that level of understanding. We want that level
Right.
of omniscience. We want that, like,
Mhm.
yeah, I get it. I figured it out. That's why we're splitting atoms. That's why we're
Yeah,
apparently getting in tin
yeah,
can submarines and trying to go look at the Titanic. That's why we do these things, because we're trying to understand. We're
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
deepen our understanding, which is
Right.
like you said, we get to the point where, yeah, it does. It might make a head pop off. It's like, I don't even know
Yeah,
if I meant it.
yeah. 'Cause we can't right.
We're
We
experimenting
can't
with,
figure
yeah, we're
it out.
experimenting with, different types of plant medicine. Like, I was in a call earlier
Mhm.
this week, and someone was talking about what they call animal medicine, which is like,
Mhm.
there's a tree frog in the rainforest,
Okay.
and it has a
Right.
secretion of its back,
Right,
and if
right.
you ingest it, you can see God. And it's like,
Right, right,
okay, but like,
right.
if God is everywhere, everything, all, well, God is in this little phone case right here, actually. So, do I really need to eat a tree frog? But it's this
Right.
idea that we're
That's, what is that? Frog assignments?
frog
Not
something.
psilocybin.
It's like
Frog
something along those lines, psilocybin,
yeah.
ayahuasca, all these things. And
Yeah.
granted, they are here on the earth, and I mean, we
Yeah,
can definitely
exactly.
explore
No,
and
it's the
pursue. It's
that's that deep stuff. One of the concepts that I've had this for years. Well, Yeah, I'll stick with the word concept. Is because I'm on the road a lot. I have this image of you know us on the freeway,
Mhm,
and I think of it probably more when there's traffic jams, or slow moving traffic. Like our blood vessels or our veins or the inner workings of our human bodies. There's this constant movement, and there's congestion at times based on whatever it is that we're doing, and there's free flowing movement. But kind of like what you mentioned with the Men in Black thing. So I think of that image and say, okay, that's happening, and all of these vehicles that are moving, all these people that are moving, going different places, are the requirements for the functioning of maybe the cities or towns or
mhm,
states that we're in,
mhm.
countries that we're in. All of this stuff is intertwined, and people are going places to accomplish different things
Yeah,
for the growth, sustenance, well-being, in theory, of whatever this entity, like I
right.
said, city, state, country, whatnot. And then you pull back from that, kind of like what you were mentioning earlier. But then, so my concept is that, which I think kind of fits what you're saying.
Mhm.
God is not a being, but the essence of being. So the creator being bigger than everything that we could imagine, but housing all of these things that are moving and shaking and operating for the purpose of this being
Yeah.
to be.
Mhm.
That's kind of headachy, but so this being to be, all of these things are integral parts of that being, or
Yeah.
those being.
Yeah.
So one of those. So you probably have to rewind and say, okay, what did he say?
He said being a lot of times. Well, I'm glad you said that because this quote, God is not a being, but the very essence of being itself,
Right, right.
took me to Acts
Mm-hmm,
17:28, where it says, "For in him," or them,
mm-hmm,
"we
mm-hmm,
live and move
mm-hmm.
and have
Oh,
our
come on now.
being."
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a
So
good one.
when you said
Yeah.
the freeway and everything, it's like I was like, yes, yes, yes. That's exactly what I was thinking. That this verse, it conveys the notion that God is not simply a
Mm-hmm,
separate being, but rather the essence that sustains all of existence, and
mm-hmm,
we are part of existence. We
mm-hmm.
exist within this essence. And again,
Right,
it's one of those where you could sit on a porch or on a mountain and you could take all the plant medicine you want and you are still
right.
not going to get it. It's still not going to click.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
still going to have
yeah.
it's still going to leave us with some questions, and that's because I think for us as humans, even in a co-creative collaborative relationship with God, there's the why questions come up. But why, but
Mhm.
why, but why, but why, well, why does this happen, why does that happen, what is it? And it's like, it's just it is what it is. It's just like that's where I land when my head starts to
Yeah,
hurt. It's just like,
yeah,
Keyshawn, it is what it is, and I'm like, all right then,
right.
okay, I gotta go
And
for a
it's
walk.
because we're the most intelligent beings on this
On
planet.
this planet, right?
Then naturally, by nature, we want to figure stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Because we say, well, the ant can't figure it out, the elephant can't figure it out, and none of the beings, creatures, or whatnot in between there, plants haven't figured it out. And if they have, they're not communicating it with me. So if I'm the most intelligent being on the planet and I'm made in the image of the person or the people or the things or the entity, the being that created the planet, I should be able to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
But no, because our duty is to create on this planet. And I think, what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
encourage love, encourage
Right.
understanding, with other created beings on the planet,
Right.
so that we can have that congruent interaction, so that this planet that we're on, and this will be the ultimate goal,
Mm-hmm.
so that the planet that we're on returns to its original state of
Mm.
peace, happiness, everything being provided that we need. That's got to be the goal. And if we get to that place, and that's again, that's the it's naysayer. Just it's the reality of understanding where we are, because we ain't doing what we. But if we are able to get to that place, then we'll know everything. Then it'll
Mm.
all make sense. Okay, because we'll be in direct communication. Everybody on the planet will be in direct, cohesive communication with the creators. And it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. So
Yeah.
that's the struggle that we have each day, is to try to get to that place so that we're not just operating with such a finite understanding.
And
It's almost like we have to develop an infinite understanding of the simplicity, which we talk about all the time,
mhm,
of loving my neighbor like I love myself.
right.
You know.
And I think what is also challenging is, like I was saying a little bit ago, is if you start with the Bible as
Mhm,
your basic instructions before leaving Earth, and then you
mhm,
start to elevate into an intermediate level of understanding of what Earth even is, what all this stuff, existence, material things even are, and then you continue to ascend or elevate into maybe, I don't know, an advanced level of
mhm,
understanding. What I've started to recognize is the higher in ascension that we go with our levels of understanding, like Gigi said in the comment, God wants to be sought after. It's like the higher the closer that we get, so to speak, to like getting it, capital
mhm,
IT, the closer that we get to getting it, the
mhm,
less we feel, I guess, maybe attached to the basic
mhm.
instructions that we started with. It's like, this is the
Right,
basic instruction. This is just to like, okay, let's going to get you on the board, get you in the game,
right,
so to speak. And as you
right.
advance, as you progress, as you deepen your understanding and you start to embrace even some of the aspects of it that kind of make your brain hurt a little bit and do make you, want to lay down and take a nap because it's just too much. I think that at that point, you start to look at the basic level, the basic instructions is like, okay, so that was a good place to start. Now I'm here.
Mhm,
Now I understand that, you know, all the scriptures that I, shared here, any scriptures that we share here are all part of the biblical canon. They're all part of
mhm,
very specific selections of writings that some were excluded and left on the cutting room floor, and others were included, and all the political components that go into creating the Bible itself, all the
mhm.
authors, all the proofreaders and the editors and the publishers, and all the people who went into making that as a basic instruction manual, if you will,
Mhm.
I think is a good place for people to start. I think that
Right.
as you progress and as you deepen your understanding, you'll start to say, okay, so not only is it actually really easy for me to operate with a sense of love and acceptance for others, because if we're all just living within this essence of life itself and we're already made in the image and the likeness, and we're already in the simulation, if you want to call it that, and we're all,
Mhm.
if we're all kind of in this together anyway as humans, then why not just operate as a collective based on unconditional love, acceptance? Why not just do that? Because
Right,
I think
exactly.
part of what keeps people in these like segmented,
Mhm,
divisive, combative, judgmental mindsets is because they're still operating with a basic thing of what God is. They don't really get
right,
it.
right, right. And you have the different factions again in our search.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like Gigi was saying, God wants to be sought after. So the different groups, factions, cultures, nationalities. Just the fact that we're on different parts of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
People develop. Okay, I got it. We got it. I figured it out. This is it. Okay.
Right.
Oh no, I think we got it. We figured it out. No. We figured it out. And
Right.
somebody, there was a YouTube thing. There's a lot of good stuff on Instagram and YouTube,
Yeah.
TikTok, or whatnot. If you sift through all of the BS,
Right.
and what, and I'll say we, the collective we on the
Mm-hmm.
planet.
Mm-hmm.
You got these groups say I figured it out. For the most part, those groups go to one. Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Like
There's
one
one.
designer, one
All of
creator.
this stuff.
Yeah.
So we call them whatever we call them. There was some lyrics in a song years ago the Lord gave me. You may call him Allah, me I call him Christ. Some they say it's Selassie. That is fine. You can call him Buddha, Krishna, Yahweh, but listen to the words that I say. I ask for guidance and protection. So I'm pretty sure that whatever your group is, you are asking for that. Okay,
Yeah,
guidance.
at minimum. Right.
Yeah, through this traverse, through these peaks and valleys and whatnot. So if we can get to that place, and that's this again, so heresy alert. So, like what you're saying, basic instruction. You really can't deny that there's some instruction in the Bible that's basic to your survival. And then all of the other stuff that's added on, to kind of make this Christmas tree, more beautiful or more accepting or whatever. Um, but then there's information that are in Buddhist traditions that you can't deny. Okay, that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I want to just have stuff? Okay, is me having stuff the ultimate goal?
Right.
Is it true that he who has the goal, wins the prize ultimately?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why do I need to have all of these accolades directed at me? What is that going to do for me ultimately?
Right.
Okay, that's like a concept that I think God would appreciate me having, rather than saying mine, give me,
Mm.
screw everybody else. So when you think about those things, when you think about, okay, I need to operate with love and understanding and acceptance, because if not, in the next life, I might return as a rat. Okay,
Or I might
that's
or
not
I
a
might even return
great.
as I might even return with the same it's like returning with the same set of issues, returning with the same set of
Yeah,
problems. It's like
exactly,
a
exactly.
reset. It's like, dang, we're here again. It's like
Right.
the movie Groundhog Day. It's like you
Yeah.
just keep
So again,
yeah.
would the creator say, okay, if that's what's going to help you keep in the right direction, you'll keep that, put that in your quiver. Okay. So again, there's we do separate a lot
Hmm.
on, you know, what we, and I'm saying the collective we on
Hmm.
the planet, say, no,
Yeah.
this is the direction. But if we would get down to the basics, if we would go to the basics of created in the image of the creator, them, they, okay. Now, how should I be operating? Basically, love like I want to be loved. Okay. And you can pick some things here from there. Now, for me, I'm a follower of Yeshua. Okay.
Hmm.
I do believe death, burial, and resurrection for my salvation. Okay. But again, heresy alert. My salvation is predicated on the fact that I need to understand that the creator of the universe said, okay, hey, follow this path that this my son, I'm just say,
Hmm.
we'll use the colloquialism. Follow the path that this brother set. Okay.
Hmm.
Loving, forgiving, speaking to me daily, understanding that you ain't what is it? Coke and a smile, bag of chips
Oh
and everything else. It
yeah.
ain't okay. And then you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, because again, we talk about the years, the unknown years,
Hmm.
the 20 plus years, what was going on with Yeshua when he was on the planet. But aside from that deep dive into just trying to figure stuff out, what's the basic stuff that we need to be doing? And I don't believe that there's any. Well, I shouldn't say that. What we know of the most well known belief systems, they all kind of have that central theme. Okay. So again, for me, it's I'm a follower of Christ,
Hmm.
and you can't deter me from that. Okay. And I think the more conversations that we have with people that are in other systems, organizations,
Hmm.
you know, beliefs, there's some congruent things that we can say, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Okay, going to church on Sunday, um, communion, different sacraments, traditions. There's a lot of stuff that we could debate on, and if people are saying you got to do those things to be in communion or communication with the Creator, that's what we could debate. But why debate if I know I'm talking to God every day and I see evidence of my conversations with Him manifesting in my daily interaction with folks for positive method or for positive outcomes?
Hmm.
We need to argue. Okay,
Right.
let's
Right.
just let's walk,
Let's just
on the
walk.
path.
Yeah. Well, kind of to your point when the point earlier about if God is not a being, but the very
Mhm.
essence of being itself, and then if we humans live and move within this
Right,
essence, then kind of
right,
like to your analogy about the cars on the freeway, it's like if the cars are on the freeway and the freeway is on on the city roads and the city roads are in the state and the state is on the continent and the continent is
Mhm.
on the planet, like who cares if we're all listening to different radio stations in the grand
Exactly.
things? Like we
Right,
all of us are only
yeah,
existing within this greater sense of existence
right,
anyway. And I think like you said, I think the debates and the discourse that happens is often because, and I don't know, I mean, if this is the case for others, but like I say this as a disclaimer, like we're not here to condemn, convict, or convince you of anything. It's really believe what you will. I think the sooner that we collectively, we as humans, recognize that anything that we do, we created. Like
Mm-hmm.
we created cars, we created
Hmm.
religion, we created
Right.
the written word, we created textbooks, we created rituals, we as creators created all of those things. And it's very likely, I would say, I believe it's very likely that the creator is like, good, you're creating things, that's what I made you to do, create stuff,
Right.
cool, okay, now
Right.
you want to create stuff that makes you want to fight and kill each other. I mean, that's on you. I mean, if you want to have
Yeah.
wars over the shit that you
Right.
created, I mean, okay, I mean, you
Yeah.
don't have to do that, but you
Right.
you
Exactly.
chose to, and that's because you got free will. So there you go. All
Yeah.
right, well, you're
And
going.
don't come crying to me
Don't
when
go
the
crying
shit
at me
blows
when
up
the
in
shit
your face.
blows up because I gave you the ability to create, and this is what you chose. All right, so I
Exactly.
think to that point too is that, and I think this is, again, these are like the nuances of the
Mhm.
religious practices and the
Right.
religious belief systems that say, oh, God is an angry God, and this one says, well, God doesn't experience anger because anger is a human condition, and if we make God into a human like being, then he is gonna have a gender and is gonna feel what we feel and think what we think. And it's like going back to my point earlier, our concept of God is not big enough. We
It's
shrank
not big.
God down into anthropomorphic representations. We shrank God into religious factions and belief systems. We shrank God into these rituals and things that we do.
This little
And
box.
in
Yeah.
reality, God is like, okay, I'm way bigger than that. But if that's what works for you, little humans, in your little minds, while
Yeah.
you're here until the simulation ends, or you get deprogrammed, or you go back to the matrix, or whatever happens after this, then that's
Yeah.
okay. But ultimately, if you're going to, like you said, to your point, Dad, because we created all this stuff anyway, that's why there's a common theme. That's why there's a
Yeah.
common entity. That's why multiple of these world religions, the big fives, have,
Mhm.
triune gods, or gender fluid, deities,
Mhm.
or prayer and ritual practices. Like they all have a common theme because they're all made by people. So,
Right.
and they all are operating from this still limited concept of what God actually is, and the vastness of it. And so I think that, you know, one of the reasons why I brought this book into the conversation is because I really do believe that as humans, those who of us who identify as, seekers, as you
Mhm.
continue to seek, it's important that you take the time to really go inward, be introspective, know yourself,
Right.
who you are, and understand that some of the preconceived ideas about God or spirituality or our own existence altogether is sometimes misguided. And so I think giving
Mhm.
yourself room to study and meditate on the words that you're reading and listen for your answers and discern what's for you and what's not for you, I think it does invite just a deeper
Mhm.
opportunity for us to make a little progress on our journey to
Mhm.
understanding what God actually is and how we fit into this matrix sense. And I think that for me, stepping away from religious dogma, stepping away from, in whatever religion, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, all religions, um,
Right.
understanding that some of the finite components of them can actually contribute to this misguided misperception of what
Mhm.
God actually is. So yeah, that's why I wanted to share it with you today. It's a whole lot. This is only like 4 quotes. It's a whole ass book. So there's a lot
Yeah.
more, but yeah.
I think it's important. Again, one of those things for me is, the older I get, and obviously, well, it's any day for anybody,
Yeah.
but the older you get, I think you do start more seriously thinking about, okay, what's next?
Hmm.
Just based on the fact that, the mortality of human being,
Of course.
what's next? I encourage people to do it at an earlier age. I had the indoctrination of Roman Catholicism,
Yeah.
you know, for my early years of education. So that was implanted. So Christianity is in my bones, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So that concept is there. But I think it's important, and you know this, and mommy teases me about all the time, about. So I was dogmatic on some things just because, oh, okay, no, this is it,
This is it.
this is it,
Yeah.
this is the way. So now you're not going to move me off of the platform of Yeshua being my savior,
Mhm.
okay? I understand the concept of Christianity, or the way that Christianity is delivered in the West, can't be the whole story, the whole deal. I think I'm intelligent enough, and my conversations with God, have allowed me to understand. Okay, yeah, there's more to it. So as long as you're not going to deny what you believe, look and seek and get some understanding, of the vastness
Mhm.
of what I want you to be doing. And that's why, I default or go back to all the time. The most important thing for me is to be able to share the love of Christ, the example of loving unconditionally,
Mhm.
try to love people through whatever issues that they're dealing with, and for me to try to point people to developing a relationship with God. And so I default to Christ because he walked on the planet as a human being. So that's how I want to operate, with the unconditional love, for my neighbor, being willing to help other folks, and in the end, it's all going to be revealed. Okay? But in the meantime, my goal is to share unconditional love, as close to unconditional as I can,
Yeah.
and it's not easy,
Oh no, I mean
but that's
we're that's the humanness of it. And I think what I do appreciate about religions is that it does serve, for some, it does serve
mhm.
as that initial answer,
Yeah,
or that
yeah,
initial introduction to something that could potentially answer the why are we here question. For some, it's a good place for people to start. And I also think that there are, excuse me, there's people who will, quote unquote, die on that hill, that are like, no, this is what I believe, this is what it is. And it's like, okay, great, we won't be able to prove you wrong, because when you're gone, we probably won't talk to you much. I don't know if you had to, unless you come back and tell us, actually,
yeah,
I've
yeah.
resimulated, I'm back, and I'm actually here to tell y'all it's not at all what we thought it was, or whatever it is. And I think for others, there's there's just a different level of understanding, I think, for each individual person. I think that's what's essential, operating from a place of compassion, operating from a place of the goal of operating from unconditional love. Like you said, if we're going for unconditional, we land on acceptance, that's fine. We
Exactly,
could, what I'm saying,
exactly.
that's cool. I accept. I don't know unconditional,
Yeah,
but I do accept. I'll land there.
yeah, yeah,
If we land
exactly.
there with acceptance and compassion for
Mhm.
other belief systems, other practices. I mean, even the atheist believes that there's a designer. They might not want to call it divine, they might not want to call
Yeah,
it
exactly.
sacred, but they believe there's a
Right.
designer. They know they didn't just come out of nowhere. So it's
Yeah, yeah. Because because if there isn't, where did the concept of stopping on red and going on green come from?
I just had a thought the other day. I was like, where did the concept of having a dominant hand come from?
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
two eyes, two ears,
Exactly.
two
Yeah,
legs,
yeah.
two feet.
Right,
Why do we not use our hands in equal
right,
dominance, power, and capability? But we don't
right.
do that with no other part of our body. You're not like, oh, my left foot, that's the one I walk on. I don't really
Yeah,
walk on my right. And it's like, but what?
right.
So
Yeah.
yes,
If there's
human
no
beings
design,
making up shit.
yeah, yeah. If there's no design, if there's no divine design,
Right.
why does hot water burn us and cold water freeze
Does
us?
it right? Exactly. There's a
You
design.
can if you just want to be logical, you could take those things to logical conclusions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Somebody had to design
somebody had
this. Something had to design this.
something had to put it makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
But no, this was
Cool.
great conversation, and again, we tease all the time. So you gotta be doing stuff, So in the meditation, you know, see, come on, man. In the meditation, it was already set,
Yeah.
because we're operating congruently with the goal of having these conversations
Right.
to encourage and empower people. And again, we didn't sit and talk, Mondays. Okay, this is what we're
No,
gonna
we
talk
don't
about
have
on Saturday.
pre-production meetings. We go with divine downloads, and we always
Yeah.
somehow land in the right place. So
Well, and for me, I'm sure for you,
yeah.
it's just evidence to those that are watching and listening. Yeah, there's got to be a creator because this stuff comes together.
Yeah. Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
there has to be. So,
exactly. Yeah, yeah, will
yeah.
you wrap
No,
us out? Yeah, I'm gonna wrap us out with our prayer. And I just, again, want to say thank you to everybody who comes and watches and sits with us and participates in the conversation. Thank you so much for the comments and for the interaction. So, if you would bring your body back into that comfortable position that you found when we were in our meditation at the very beginning. And we're going to take one big deep breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And my prayer this morning is an offering of gratitude for the awareness, for the invitation to explore, to seek, to understand, recognizing that our human experience is often going to lead us in many different directions as we try to answer the question of what is God really? And what I am grateful for this morning is that even if we do not have a full understanding, or will never have a full understanding of exactly what God is, we are all able, capable, and willing to receive and embrace the love that is God, and embrace the protection that is God, and embrace the guidance, the direction, the support, the inspiration, the creativity, the joy, the celebration that is God. And I ask this morning that anyone who has a need, a desire, a hope, a dream on their heart, that they will offer it up. They will offer it up for collaborative co-creation so that that dream, that desire, that hope, that goal will start to manifest, will start to appear, that the answers will be delivered, that the directions will be provided, that the inspiration will guide them exactly to where they're meant to be. Thank you for this time. Thank you for this opportunity. And thank you for each and every person that tunes in and has this experience with us. And for all these things, I am so grateful. And so it is. Ashe, Ashe, Amen.
Amen. And I would just add one thing to what you were saying is in your offering up, speak those things out
Mm-hmm.
audibly.
Yeah.
It's empowering for you as individuals, but also let other people know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know you can let know.
Yeah.
Who you know who you can't let know, but so that people can be in agreement, because I
Yeah.
think there's power in the agreement
Mm-hmm.
for the things we desire, the things that we need, the things that we want. So it's important to say those things, audibly.
Yeah.
The universe concept, it's a new concept, but I get it, because that's kind of like what you were talking about, the atheist.
Yeah.
The person that wants to say, okay, I'm not part of that faction,
Yeah.
so I'll go universe, because I know that some entity is listening. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you can say that stuff out loud. But
Yeah.
no, this is a good conversation. So may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. May the Lord bless you when you lay your head down at night and when you get up early in a new day. May the Lord bless you when you're in times of sorrow, which we all deal with. May the Lord bless you in times of joy and exhilaration. May the Lord bless you and continue to bless you and pursue you and apprehend you, that the blessings of the Creator just smother you and cover you, and be in a situation where you're just so blessed that everyone that you encounter recognizes the blessing, so that you can point them to the direction from which the blessings came. May the Lord bless you and your children and your children's children and your children's children's children for thousands of years to come, so that your descendants will be able to look back through the annals of time and understand and share and tell other folks that it's because of decisions that you made way back in the early 21st century that they're able to experience the communication, the gratitude, the understanding of why we're here and how we're aligned in perfect alignment with the Creator of all things. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. My desire for you, my prayer for you, my encouragement for you today and throughout this next week is that no weapon formed against you will prosper,
Mm-hmm.
and that we'll be able to be in each other's presence once again. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
Yep.
We'll see you
We'll see
next
you next week. Peace, everybody.